All right. I have tried to record this Florida video like 100 fucking times. Last night, I had every intention in the world to do it. I did the new Florida, and then I sat down to do, or no, I did the new prison, and I sat down to do the new Florida. I woke up this morning with no pants on. I had a shirt on. It was like an I love New York shirt. I love NY. Bro. It was like one of those shirts. Yabba dabba doo. That's how he talked. And I had a cigarette in my fingers, and there was like ash coiling over it. And I was like, fuck, no video. A flurry of mean comments. But it's true. I shouldn't say shit and then not come through with it. I just shouldn't say anything and then just do it. I've always had that problem. Because I have good intentions, but then I get in trouble for good intentions. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, I want to do this. And then people are like, you're a piece of shit. The Etsy page. You guys are probably like, you're full of shit about that. I swear to God, we had to switch to e-commerce. We're still doing that shit. How many months has that been? So much shit. I still haven't even put drug stories for truckers on iTunes. Like, this shit would make me money, and I still don't fucking do it. So it's not you, it's me. The sponsor calls, you know, I fucking, let's do it today. Okay, and then like I fall asleep and then I wake up and it's just like, I got to get more structured, you know. I think that, everybody does, you know. In prison, I've said this a lot of times. There is this guy named Charlie Harper, smartest guy I've ever met in my entire life. Straight up like Goodwill Hunting type autistic kind of guy, right? Socially awkward. If he had like one drink of Pruno, he'd like wet the bed and like have a stroke. Like he was like one of those guys. They called him Chuck the Town Drunk. But he taught himself Mandarin, Chinese, and all that. And he told me once, he was like really like my mentor when I was writing Wasting Talent. He was like always up in the computer lab with me. And he taught me, you know, without him, I don't think that book would have been what it was. Shit, I don't think I'd be the writer that I am. I don't think with Anti-Heroes, I just knocked out what I think is pretty good quality stuff in like a week. 15,000 words, which is like, I don't know, like 70, 80 pages, you know, with the format we're using. And it was like stuff I was proud of. But anyway, he told me one time that we're at our best in prison. You know, the working out, you know, the structure of it, reading, writing, you know, we're well-rounded. And I think that's true, but I don't think that we can't not emulate that when we're out here in the free world. You know, like I'm working out again and like I'm getting in shape, start skating again, start painting. A lot of that stuff is therapeutic though, you got to understand. I'm doing that because I'm still really in a lot of pain over Paul. My mom's having a hard time, so I'm in pain over that. And these are just outlets I'm doing instead of like injecting heroin or smoking crack, you know. So I got to find a balance with all this stuff. But if you're a sponsor, definitely you get your call. People are like, why would you want to have a one-on-one call? It's cool to connect with people. I enjoy those calls, you know. But I also want to have the time allocated where I can actually focus on the calls because my ADD is out of control. So we'll get those. And I try to make that $100 tier worth it where, you know, you get something that's worth more than $100, whether that be a litho, a page from my book, which I think will have value someday, but maybe that's just my own arrogance and delusions. My documentary comes out. It's like in the bargain bin at fucking some thrift store with like an ab roller. It's like ab roller plus idiot savant, $3. And it's like, fuck that. It's way too much. I don't know. I have high hopes. I think it will be good. So anyway, let's get into the story. One thing that I'm trying to do is on top of the Megan video, which does exist, but you gotta realize that it's a little sketchy, especially because it's Florida and the motherfuckers will come arrest me. I'm trying to get a Karina video, not the one I'm with now, the Asian stripper that was pregnant when I stabbed the skinhead when I was a kid. No one knows where she is. I got her on my Facebook and I sent her a message. I was like, hey, I'll give you $100 for this. But even 200, I heard she just had a baby. So, I mean, I have no problem giving her 200 or 300 even. I think it'd be interesting to get her side of the story. And that's like something where I'm not, you know, we don't really have to worry about what she says because the guy didn't die. And that guy's dead actually too, that I stabbed. Died of a heroin overdose. Probably like 2 years ago. No, probably a little longer than that. 4 or 5 years ago. It was while I was in prison the first time. So 13, so wow. I don't know. 7 years ago? Shit. My sense of time sucks. Let's get into the story though. So, you know, this story is not going to be as serious or as funny as my normal stuff. It's just like a straightforward story, you know. So which is good because I just woke up and like I'm in no mood to be funny, haha. Haha funny. What's up with my hair, man? Johnny Bravo shit. I need a haircut. I always thought my hair looked good like this, but chicks are always like, ew, you look like a butt fucker. I'm like, a what? I act like I don't know what they're talking about. And then like after we have sex, I'm like, you know, you're right. I've dabbled in butt fucking. Oh, I knew it. I love you. I love you too. All right, so the story. So the last time, god damn, the snot is just out of control. And I don't know about the hair. I feel kind of weird now with the hair like that. Oh, you know what I'm gonna wear? This is like one of these. This is my grandfather gave me this. I don't look that cool in it. I wore it to an art show once and I met Jessica Alba. And she's like, your hat's gay. And I was like, yeah, she was actually, I don't know. I don't want to speak on like celebrities, you know, but yeah, doesn't matter. We'll save that for the $100 tier. Hey, shut the fuck up. I love you. It's like pretty much how my relationships are. Okay, so the last video that we talked about, that dude had come over to our motel because his wife had been cheating on him. He wanted to do heroin, and you know, he'd been in rehab, so he was clean. And we just saw a girl die like pretty much in our arms not that long before. I mean, we're talking this is like a week before that, you know. It wasn't spaced out that far after that. I had to drag her out. I had to drag him out of the hotel. He had shitty shit resonated in his ass, and when we were sticking little ice cubes up his butt in the Best Western, it was like melting because shit's hot. Hey, will you guys shut the fuck up? Thank you. Come sit over here. Sorry, I really do. I'm a good guy. No, if you don't talk to them like that, they walk all over you. So we had dragged him out, sticking ice cubes up his shitty ass, and this guy comes, and he's probably, see, I'm 20 at the time, Megan's 22. This guy is like pockmarked with acne, which is okay. I'm just saying this is what he looked like. He's wearing a Yankees cap, and he's like, hey, is that guy who overdosed on heroin? He had an accent. No, I'd later find out he was from Pittsburgh, but he had like a semi-New York accent. Hey, is that guy passed out on heroin? In Wasting Town, I made it a Boston accent. It was more like a New York accent. Said, did that guy overdose on heroin? Yes, he did. So he gives him CPR, he brings him back. He pulls out a slab of crack called a cookie, about $600 worth of crack cocaine. Then it had like this yellow tint, which is always good when there's yellow in crack. The reason being is that there's a way to treat it with acetone before you combine the baking soda, and the acetone removes the cut from the cocaine. Cocaine is oily, it's water soluble like heroin and crystal meth. So if you treat it with acetone first, and then you can also cook it with ether, you know, you get this yellow crack. And that's like the real stuff. You know, that's the stuff that like makes you like serial kill people. When they blame it on crack, that's what they're smoking, the yellow kind. Oh, dude, I took one hit and then I killed like 9 people. Judge is like, okay, probation, drug court, you know? Yeah, right. They hate crack, you know? They associate that with black people and they hate black. The courts are so racist. So he goes, do you guys smoke crack? Hey, do you guys smoke crack? Or do you guys like to party? do you smoke crack? I said, I smoke crack. Megan's like, shut up, bitch. We've been shooting heroin together. I don't know why you want to get on some moral high horse now. We go into our room with him. The other guy, he took off, and he ended up stealing my cell phone, my Razor phone that my dad had gotten me. Somehow I got another one later. I've never really remembered the details, but I remember this guy stole it. Doesn't really matter. We end up going into the motel room and, or hotel, I guess. I don't know, what is Best Western? Motel? It doesn't matter. And we start smoking crack, Mike Virgin and I, with the blinds closed. Now, crack's interesting. If you haven't smoked crack, but you've snorted coke, you snort coke and you do it, instantly your self-esteem goes through the roof. And you start getting really corny, talking about dreams and aspirations. It almost feels like you're in some like bullshit documentary. You know how there's documentaries about people that really shouldn't have a documentary about them? Well, I hold the world record for unscrewing bottle caps and collecting them in a wicker basket. Really? Do you have competition with that? Well, no, but no. And then it goes in, well, he grew up in Maryland and he first got into unscrewing bottle caps at the tender age of 19. And it shows him and he has curly black hair and big, chomo glasses on. And anyway, it's kind of like that, right? When you snort coke, it's you get all this backstory about shit that you don't care about. Oh yeah, my family and I, we moved here from Georgia when I was 9. My dad was in construction. Always really looked up to the old man. And you're just kind of all right. I mean, it's tolerable, okay? So when you smoke crack, it's tolerable for a while. I always go in the other direction with coke. I mean, I always get horny. And then I want to have sex. No, I'll just say it too. We'll be in a cram bathroom. I'll be I want to fuck someone. Then I'm usually kicked out. I'm hey man, come on, let me back in. I swear I won't say anything weird like that again. I swear to God. No, bro, get the fuck out of here. Fucking weirdo. So, with crack, when you smoke it, you get a ringer that's comparable to shooting it. So you smoke it because it enters the bloodstream almost as quickly as injecting it. Maybe it's a different rush, but you get a ringer off smoking it and your lips go numb and you get this very coolant kind of wisp tickling your throat, numbing it. I gotta go get some crack. Sounds so good, but no, I mean, the first hit is always good. Your heart starts beating fast. You get the ringer. It's almost orgasmic in a rush because there's it feels like pressure building and then exploding. But then you never get that rush again. So the rest of the crack trip is trying to achieve that first hit, which is a real problem. I mean, people rob banks to try to get that first hit again. Dude, I need that. Let's go knock off Bank of America. Friends are down. And then they go and they get caught. And it's usually over some petty crack shit. Crackheads always do sketchy shit like that. I don't know. I mean, if I had to demonize one specific demographic of addict, it's tweakers because they do really questionable sexual shit. Speaking from experience on that. And I don't know, it's just kind of a grimy scene. Now, crackheads are very untrustworthy though. Heroin addicts, they're annoying because they die and shit in front of you and you're fuck, we have to deal with the body, or, they tend to stink because heroin addicts don't like water, God forbid soap. No, I mean, you're clucking soap. When I was selling heroin, I'd literally have people bring me the fucking single serving shampoos from hotels. They'd be but there's 70 of them. Let me get a dime. You can sell them for 10 cents and still make a profit. I'm that doesn't even make sense. Seriously, people get like that. So, when you're chasing this first hit, you can get talkative, you can get horny. I used to smoke crack and get my dick sucked. It's just kind of a silly hobby I had when I was like 18 or 19. But generally, especially when you have that much cookie like that, you take a hit and then another guy takes a hit. Because Megan wasn't smoking. She passed out at this point. And it had been, the dynamic had been just completely reduced to silence. Where it's him smoking the crack, big chemically, opaque clouds throughout the room. And you look at someone smoking crack and you just wish that they would fucking hurry up and hand the pipe back to you because you want that first hit again. And you get into this kind of rabbit hole psychosis, robotic almost motion where all you want to do is keep hitting the crack. It's pretty lame. I mean, it's not that cool of an addiction. It's the most expensive addiction out there. I don't know. When Whitney Houston was like, crack is whack. That's for poor people. That's not true. Not anymore. Back in the day, back when the government was probably like sliding kilos of crack into the ghettos, maybe. But like now, the homeless, the poor, they're all doing crystal meth because it's so cheap in comparison. Crack, I mean, you can just keep going and going and going. So we're silent. We don't really get to know each other that well because once we get in the room, we just start smoking. It's kind of weird. Megan's passed out. And all of a sudden, the telephone bursts alive. And it's like one of those old, like, with like flashing red lights. Megan wakes up and she just looks at it. Now, Mike and I are cracked out of our mind. So we like look at the phone. Everyone's like, don't answer that. And I'm like, hello. Yeah, Mr. Leone, this is the front desk. Checkout is going to be at 11 o'clock. Your father has discontinued payment. His 7 days are up today. Now, we didn't even consider that. Our whole lifestyle was boost shit from Walmart, go return at Super Walmart, get a, gift card at the pawn shop, fuck, do heroin, shower maybe, just so we don't stink of sex. But to be honest, it was just a courtesy thing. She's like, we should shower. I'm like, fuck, okay. And then we'd like probably fuck in the shower too. And then that dude OD'd. And then now Mike's here smoking crack. And what had happened is we'd run out of any concept of time going by. So I'm just like, oh yeah, no problem. Hanging up, I'm like, oh my God, they're kicking us out. And Megan's like, oh my God, she had this other, oh my God, what are we gonna do? And Mike just looks at us, can you guys please stop? You gotta be firm with these little fucks. Mike goes, I got a place you guys can stay. He's like, in fact, I got a nice spot that you guys can come stay at with me, if you'd like to. So, yeah. Generally, and I've learned this, and I'm not going to say that I haven't done it since, but meeting someone at a hotel under the pretense of crack smoking, you've known them for 4 hours, smoking crack cocaine the whole time, generally not a good idea to go just move in with them. It's usually some sketchy shit. Really, Mike? That'd be awesome. Yeah, I got a place you guys can stay. And Megan's like, look, all we need is we just got to figure out, how we're going to get a plane ticket. I own a place in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm a divorcee. I got a house. Ryan can come stay at. We just need a place. We'll pay you rent, etc., etc. Mike's like, yeah, no problem. I got to go to work right now, but I'm going to have my driver come pick you guys up right around 1 o'clock. I'm like, you're going to go to work? What do you mean? You just smoke crack with us for like 4 or 5 hours. What the fuck do you mean? He's like, I got to go to work. I don't know. What am I supposed to say? I got to go to work. What do you mean your driver? Hey, man, do you want to come stay with me or not? My driver's going to come pick you up at 1 o'clock. Yeah, okay. Megan's like, all right. So, I always do this at motels or hotels anyway. I mean, I basically make up some catastrophe. Yeah, front desk, this is Mr. Leone. My wife accidentally cut her finger off and we flushed it down the toilet and we're trying to get it with a old-fashioned wire clothes hanger. We may need an extension till about noon. You got it, Mr. Leone. Click. And so usually buy as much time as possible. I mean, typically with me, it's like, sometimes the police come. I'll stay there till like 9 at night. I'm like, I'm looking for the finger or whatever I say. A lot of times it's a wedding ring or, I got diarrhea. That one's a big one. Hey, I got diarrhea. I can't leave right now. I'll shit all over your carpet. I can't get off the toilet. That one works pretty well. So we end up leaving around noon, probably like 12:30. We have our bags. We had our bags, but I remember we didn't have money or anything. We had to go boost. We had a little bit of heroin. Not much, but we had enough. And we go sit in front of this bench in front of the hotel. Now, we wait till about 1:15, 1:20 before Megan's like, oh man, I knew this motherfucker was full of shit. I'm like, yeah, I mean, usually in situations like this, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. Literally, as we're saying that, a black limousine pulls up. And it's being driven by a black guy that looks just like Biggie. Just like Biggie Smalls. He's got the puffy cheeks. Yo, what up, man? My name is Eddie. Are you Megan and Ryan? We look at each other like, what the fuck? Like, what, a limo. It's not what we expected. When you said driver, we thought it was going to be some, like, Paisa runner or, like, who knows? Some, like, Kid Rock-looking white dude that, listens to, like, Lynyrd Skynyrd. Has, like, a Lynyrd Skynyrd single on cassette. It's, like, one song. It's, like, Freebird Live. Like, dude, we've heard that like please don't play that again. Oh, yeah, sorry. So we get in this, the Eddie gets out. He's like, let me take your bags for you. Oh, let me take those bags for you. Throws them in the trunk. He's like, hey, now Mike, he put some champagne on the ice for you in the back of the limo. And you help yourself to that shit. Okay, cool. Nothing weird at all about that. We were smoking crack with the guy in a motel, and now we're in a limousine drinking champagne. To be honest, I was coming down so hard off the crack that I didn't even care. I was just like, ugh! I was like guzzling the champagne. And Megan's just like, this is weird. I was like, is what it is. So we drive. Now, he has the window up. So Megan and I are talking. Who knows what our conversation was, but probably tripping out on what was going on. I'm expecting to go to some ghetto place. That's what I expected from, some crackhead with pockmarks and a Yankees cap that had a cookie of crack at Best Western at like 2 a.m. or whatever. We roll up to a nice area in West Palm Beach. Rolling green hills. There's a golf course. Gated community. I'm like, what the fuck? Pull in, dude punches in the code at the gate. It opens. He rolls the window down, and he goes, yeah, Mike ain't gonna be here, but here you go. Here's the key to the place. It's, and he's like, this is 12A, and yeah, there's something for you in the envelope, and here's my number. If you guys need anything, you just give me a buzz. Now, I was like, okay, cool. So where's Mike? He's all, he ain't gonna be home for about a week now, but make yourselves at home. It's all good. Okay. That's not weird. So we take our luggage out and we go out into this complex. We open up, I don't remember. It was I think it was on the top level. It was on the top level because when it was on the top level. So we go up. I have this envelope. It has the, apartment number or whatever. I open up the envelope. There's $1,000, $100 bills. Now that struck me as odd. There was also a key for the apartment. It's like, what the fuck? And Megan's like, I don't like this at all. I was like, well, I mean, I like the money, It's like, at least I don't have to boost from Walmart. Let's just see what this is about. But it did have the sense that we were walking into something weird, which we were. So we opened this apartment. It had a very weird layout. There was a bedroom, there was a living room, there was another bedroom, and then there was a kitchen. But the middle living room was made to look like a bedroom. It had like a big king-size mattress. It also had a camcorder with it, like an older Sony camcorder on a tripod, just kind of pointed towards the bed. It definitely looked like some weird pornography was filmed there. Now, me being a fan of pornography, I wasn't holding that against him. So I was like, okay, this is weird. But it was a nice place, It's like probably one of those places that comes furnished because everything was like matching, or maybe, he was just bi and had a good eye. But so we go to the refrigerator, and there's a note on the refrigerator, and it says something to the effect, Dear Ryan, Megan and Ryan, I'm not going to be here. I'm away on business, but I went ahead and I filled the refrigerator up with beers, meats. There's also something for you guys in my bedroom. My bedroom is the one on the far right with the leopard prints. Make yourselves at home. You're my guests. Relax. Mike. I open up the refrigerator, rows and rows of a beer. I believe it was Heineken and Guinness, if I remember correctly. I don't know. It's been a long time, but that's what I think it was. I know there was Guinness for sure. Because I remember, I was like, what do I do with the ball? And she's like, I never had a Guinness. I was like, no, I'm a junkie. And she's like, yeah, it's just to like keep the consistency or whatever. I don't even know. Anyway, filled completely up with steak in Ziploc bags. And yeah, I mean, the whole time I'm thinking it's odd. We end up going into the bedroom on the far right. It's leopard print everywhere. It literally looks like a leopard sex den or something. There's like leopard like stools. There's a leopard comforter. There's furry leopard handcuffs. There's a leopard like running across a fucking like grass meadow, like a little oil painting. There's a screensaver of that. This dude's a fucking loser. It really was kind of weird. So I go into the drawer on his computer desk. I find about a pound of marijuana, cannabis, pretty shitty, like Florida mid-grade weed. There was also a bottle of methadone wafer pills, 40 milligram, about that big. These white pills that you could crush up, put in your drink, and that stuff rocks you if you're not too strung out. So I end up like, damn, we're good. Like, I don't even have to do heroin. I can just start, eating methadone all the time and I'll be good. Now, Florida's like that. It's a pill mill place. So, there's a lot of, there's just a lot of doctors that prescribe methadone wafers. You've run into them in California, but it's way more rare. Out in Florida, it's like, it's just very common for people to have that, Sorry, I'm looking for a dip, and I did not see one. Oh shit. There's so much random shit on my desk. I think I'm assed out. Anyway, doesn't matter. I can smoke. That's the beauty of being able to record on my phone. Karina's gonna see me in this hat and be like, oh my god, you're such a trendy hipster. It's just because my hair was bugging me. I don't usually wear it. Except for the time I met Alba. So, oh shit, hi honey. I gotta Yeah, she's out there. She's naked, stretching. So basically, for the next week, he really wasn't there. And he had a barbecue pit. There was also a pool and a jacuzzi. You know, this was a complex. So there was all that kind of stuff. And, you know, we just basically drank beer, ate methadone, and used the amenities. And like from going the kind of hotel life that we were living, like ordering Domino's, to like barbecuing steaks and drinking Guinness and like eating methadone and just being in this like opiate bliss, you know, it was nice. So at one point, you know, sometimes when I tell this story, I mention this, sometimes I don't. It's not that important of a detail, but since these are like extended versions of the stories, I may as well just mention this. In the middle of the week, before Mike had showed up, at one point some guy showed up. He was like this big buff guy. He really looked like a cop. And that was like my first thought was that he was a cop. You know, he's just some muscular guy, and it didn't seem to faze him that we were there. You know, Mike had told him that we were going to be there, and he said that he was Mike's roommate. Now, it was obvious that he was like some roided out guy. He's like a Wes Watson looking guy, you know, but he looked like a cop, if you know what I mean. Like, he just had that look. And he ended up staying there for one night, and that was kind of awkward, but there were like people coming in and out buying stuff from him, and I'm pretty sure it was steroids, because all the people that were coming in and out there were like big fitness freaks, you know. So he ends up leaving, and at a certain point, we just, you know, we kind of speculated on who Mike even was, and the conclusion that we had both come to was that Mike was a trust fund baby. You know, you run into that a lot, especially like in Santa Barbara and like on the West Coast, really everywhere. You know, guys that inherit a lot of money from their family, and then they just become like degenerate crackheads, drug addicts. I mean, you know, that if my parents had passed away when I was in my early 20s, this probably would have been me. Well, not everything Mike was doing, but, you know, having an apartment and just doing lots of drugs with random people that I meet at hotels. Sounds about right. So that guy ends up leaving, Mike's roommate. And then one day, unexpectedly, Mike just kind of waltzes in, you know. He's wearing a Hawaiian shirt, and he's with about 12 girls. They're all smoking crack. Like the front door just opens, and he just kind of waltzes in. He's covered in sweat. He's cracked out of his mind, and he's with these girls, and they're all hitting a straight shooter, which is like, you know, like a straight glass pipe. Kind of just looks like a glass tube that you put churro boy, it's chore boy, Brillo, kind of stuff you like scrub pans with. That's what you use as like a filtering system when you smoke crack, and you stuff that into the tube. So they're smoking, and my first thought when I see the girls is that they're young, because some of them have braces and they look young. Now, I'm only 20 at the time. I'm covered in acne, so I look pretty young myself, but these girls looked particularly young. Like, there was something definitely off about the situation. You know, they were like younger than the kind of girls that like I would hang out with, and I didn't even really think much of it, except that it struck me as odd because they looked so young and they were smoking crack. But I didn't my creepdar didn't go off. It would now that I'm older and that I've kind of like been around longer, I would have known exactly what this shit was right from the get-go. But at that point, I didn't even like put thought into it. So we start smoking crack with them. Megan's not smoking yet. Eventually she did start smoking with us, but at this point I was just smoking, and I hadn't been smoking crack the whole time. So I was pretty eager just to jump right back into that. And once you take that first hit, you're right back on that, on that hamster wheel where you're trying to, chase the hit. Yuck. Cold coffee. I feel like I'm in the hole in prison. And at one point, maybe the crack just made me a little more talkative, and I asked Mike, I said, "Hey, Mike, who are these girls?" And he goes, "They're my hoes. These are my girls, man. These are my fucking hoes, bro." So what do you mean? He said, "I mean, I fucking pimp them out. They're my bitches. I'm a fucking pimp, and these are my hoes. This is my fucking stable." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, but they're like fucking 6th graders." He's like, "Yes, so? It's more of an exotic product that way, no?" I'm like, "What the fuck?" So at that point, I told Megan, I said, "Hey, I don't know if we should be here. This is getting a little weird, "Oh, no, 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 let's just use it like we have it good. We have food. We have methadone." She was like one of those, I can't take the hat anymore. I'm sorry. Hold on. She was like one of those girls, there's a lot of them, where all they care about is that opioid high, Morals go out the window. Right from the get-go, though, I wasn't cool with the underage prostitution shit. And it started getting kind of like more nefarious as time went on. So right off the bat, Mike ended up buying us, some heroin, some China White. Good heroin out there. And as soon as we started doing that, I really just stopped caring about what was going on. I just didn't even pay attention. I was kind of like in my own, drugged out bliss. And I started seeing like how the daily operations were of this place. So he was pimping these girls out to these old, greasy, disgusting guys. Pedophiles, for sure. At 20, I was close enough in age to them where I I was creeped out by it, but like I really didn't even understand like the severity of it, I was just too young and too drugged out to really understand what was going on. I didn't condone it, but I didn't stop it either, which in retrospect was a mistake, or I should have at least left. And what would happen is these guys would come over and they would go on dates in the middle room. Now, Eddie came back, the black guy that looked like Biggie, and him and Mike would always be on this like this chest thumping thing where they were talking about how they would be dumping bodies in the Everglades, the Florida swamps, the Everglades. And what would happen when the girls went on the dates, we would all go into Mike's room. We would all like stand by the door and like just smoke crack. And Eddie would be listening. If anything went awry, he had a gun on him. He had like a 45, big ass gun. Might have been a Glock, actually. I know Mike had a 45. I don't know, it doesn't matter. He had a gun. And, we just kind of got used to it, these girls. And I started getting to know the girls, and they were cool. And Mike would explain to me, they were basically runaways. They came from abusive homes, and he was giving them a better life than what they were running away from, which I was like, just give me the crack pipe, dude. I don't really care what you're saying. One day, I wake up. Megan and I would sleep on the bed, and then whoever was in the room, sometimes people would pass out on the bed too. People would be sleeping all over this place. One day I wake up and I'm groggy. I go to the kitchen to get a beer. It's the first thing I'm doing. I drink a beer and then smoke a cigarette. And I look and there's a cop in uniform in the living room. And he kind of follows me with his eyes, and I'm kind of looking back at him. And then I kind of just go, open the refrigerator, get the beer, look back at him. He's still looking at me. He's pulling his pants up too. He's on this futon thing, sitting down, putting his pants on. tying his shoes. No. I look at him and I'm just like, is that real? Is this really, am I seeing this? Is this some apparition, hallucination? I go back in the room, now Mike's snoring in there. And I was like, hey, Mike, wake him up. He's like, what's up? And I'm like, hey, man, there's a fucking cop in your living room. He's like, yeah, dude, so it's one of my clients. Fucking don't wake me up for this kind of shit, man. I'm like, he's in uniform. He's like, he comes here all the time. I was like, damn. That checks out. Okay. So we kind of get in this routine. It becomes very, and Megan starts smoking crack. I don't know when it started. She started hanging out with the girls more. And they like got her to start smoking crack. So now she's starting to change. Crack definitely does that to you. It changes who you are. And now all she cares about is chasing that crack high. One day, a date's going on. Eddie is listening through the door. We're smoking crack in the room. And all of a sudden, the girl's name was Amber. She runs from the living room. She's naked. She's probably like 14, 15. And she was like naked and she had like a little like nightgown or something that she was like covering herself with. But she was naked. She's covered in sweat. She's like, hey, he ran away and he stole the tape. He stole the tape. And Eddie like looks at Mike and Mike's like, hey, Meg and Ryan, you guys go down to the pool house. We'll call for you when we got to take care of this fucking situation right now. And we just kind of leave. We go down to this pool house. Now it's sweltering hot in Florida. This is the summer of 2006. Super hot, humid, bugs everywhere, old people like with like, California raisin faces. I had like a tattoo of the sun and the Fear and Loathing, and they're like, he's the thug. Look at them tattoos. Megan like had her, tongue pierced, and they're like, and look at that dyke he's hanging out with. And she's like, I am. So what? So we're down at this pool house. We're both coming down. Now, if you ever come down off coke, it's shitty to begin with, but when you're in the sweltering, hot, humid fuckhole that is Florida, it's even worse. And she's like, we need to go back, baby. I can't deal with it. I'm coming down. I was like, I don't feel good either, but they told us to wait. And if they told us to wait, then I think we should wait. I don't think there's any reason that we should go there prematurely. And she's like, come on. We've been there for a couple hours, 2-3 hours, Just come down full all the way. We're baking. We're sitting like under some cabana, getting some shade, but eventually we go back in there. Now the door's open. We walk in. There's blood everywhere. Blood splattered on the walls, blood splattered on the fucking ceiling, on the counters. It looked like somebody had taken a chainsaw to somebody. Amber, the girl that was naked, is now clothed, and she's on her knees scrubbing blood off the floor with an old t-shirt as a rag. The bucket she's using has turned red. It's like you can tell she's been doing it for a while and there's a lot of blood. So who knows what really happened there. But I'm looking, I've never seen anything like that in my life. I'd seen people get beat up. Saw someone slit his wrist in front of me when I was 15. I've seen some fucked up shit before this point. But it was pretty hardcore. It was like something out of a horror film, Mike walks in the kitchen. He's like, hey man, what the fuck? Are you not supposed to see this lady? Check this out. That guy, he got what he fucking deserved, okay? He got what he deserved. He's a piece of shit. You guys weren't supposed to come back until we called for you. It's simple fucking directions. Now that you're back, I don't give a fuck. Just whatever. Stay. You weren't supposed to see this. And Amber's just sitting there scrubbing the blood and she's smoking crack. Very weird scene. Now at this point, okay, I kind of turned a blind eye to the underground brothel that this place was. That's one thing, you know, and nowadays I look at it just as bad as murder or anything else. Back then, it's not like I had even an opinion one way or the other. I was so young myself, I didn't even really know what was going on. But this kind of shit, murder, being involved with some sort of massacre that had just gone down at this place, I didn't want to be an accessory to that. You know, there's already a lot of illegal shit going on at this house. This is in a very conservative state where the draconian laws are even more disproportionate than the rest of the country. So I grab Megan when I get a chance, when I have her in private, and I go, hey, we gotta go. She's like, what do you mean we gotta go? I was like, do you not see the fucking blood everywhere? Looks like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre went down in there. Oh, come on. You're being paranoid. We've never had it so good. They give us crack. They give us heroin. I was like, well, you make a pretty convincing point, but I don't want to be involved with this shit. We can get crack and heroin anywhere, and we don't have to be subjected to fucking pedophile murderers. She's like, Jesus Christ, you watch way too many movies. I'm like, you don't watch enough fucking movies. You not see how is there blood on the fucking ceiling? Where did that come from? God, Ryan, stop being a bitch. All right, whatever. She doesn't want to go. I'm kind of like, in my head, just kind of like, not really knowing what's going on. I think I hit some crack real quick. And then Mike comes up to me, he goes, hey, man, hey, let me ask you something. Have I not been good to you? Excuse me? He's like, well, I just talked to your bitch and she said that you want to go. Have I not treated you like fucking family, first class fucking family? I bring you into my home. I give you drugs. You could have any pussy you want in here. I give you a place to fucking stay. I feed you. And you want to leave because of this. Because you see some blood. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Did you not just tell Megan that you wanted to leave? And I said, well, yeah, but, you know, okay. I need you to come with me then. I was like, where are we going to go? He's like, well, I'll let you know in my truck. But I need you to come with me right now. Can I? No, you need to come with me right now. I'm like, fuck, you know, and you got to understand, I'm on crack. Him and Eddie have been talking about dumping bodies in the Everglades. That's my immediate thought, is that he's taking me out to the desolate swamps of Florida, the Everglades, and he's going to dump my body. And we will get into what happens next in the Florida saga in the next video. Just wanted to get something out to you guys. Thank you so much for your support. I don't know what I'm going to say. Palabra.